A big hello to everyone out there in the marketing family. Welcome back to Marketing. I'm Professor Martin. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the competitive environment and hopefully not just talking about it. Maybe we'll go on a little marketing field trip and try to show you the competitive environment. We'll get to that in a little bit. Kick us off, let's talk about where we've been. Now, we have already learned about the 4 P's of marketing, what we refer to as our marketing mix, and we've talked about product, placement, promotion, pricing. And we've given you a little window into all of those. And we've talked about how when we develop our marketing mix, we need to be thinking of a target market of people that we can aim our marketing mix at. If we're just kind of not considering who our customers are, we're going to have a lot of problems as a marketing entity and as a business. So we always think about that target market and we try to direct our marketing mix at that target market, specific group of people. We know all that. We've been through that already. What we're adding to it is the fact that all of that doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't happen in a bubble. It happens in the real world where we have to consider the environment in which we operate. We have to consider the technological environment. We have to consider the economic environment, the social environment, the political environment. And as we're going to talk about right now, we have to consider the competitive environment that we operate in. So what is the competitive environment? It's where marketers of directly competitive products and marketers of substitute products compete with one another for the consumer dollar. And we have direct competition and we can have indirect competition. And so to give you an example of the difference between direct competition and indirect competition, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of Wilmington here. Let's talk fast food for a second. We'll talk burgers here. What you're looking at is a map of Rombach Avenue that runs right through Wilmington, Ohio. And if you've been through Wilmington, Ohio, and you've driven down Rombach, you're probably aware that there's a lot of fast food to be had on Rombach Avenue. In fact, if you're looking for a burger, you have your choice. You can go to Wendy's, you can go to Dairy Queen, you can go to McDonald's, you can go a little bit further down the road, you can go to Burger King. Heck, you can even go to Big Boy. All of the burger places are within not even half a mile of one another. And you can take your pick. All of the places selling burgers are in direct competition with one another for your burger dollar. But there's also indirect competition. People that are selling a substitute item. You could go to Hothead Burritos, you could go to Donato's, you could go to Bob Evans, you can go to Roosters and get chicken wings. You could substitute any one of those for a burger. And so while these aren't really burger places, they're still competing with that burger joint for the customer dollar, right? And so we think of direct competition. We think of people that are selling pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah, Dairy Queen also sells ice cream. Yeah, Frisch's also has a salad bar. But if we're just talking about burgers, all 4, Wendy's, Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Frisch's, and Burger King, all 5, are competing directly for the burger dollar. They're competing indirectly with other businesses that are selling things that could substitute for a burger, a burrito, a pizza, a chicken wing, or heck, maybe even a grocery store. I don't have to eat fast food. I don't have to eat takeout. I could go to Kroger and buy my own food and cook it myself. That is also a competitor to the burger joint. It's an indirect competitor, but it's still a competitor. So we have direct competition, people who are selling the exact same thing, and then we have indirect competition, a business or a competitor selling maybe something that could be substituted. All right? And now sit here and I just want to talk about competition and show you a map. What fun is that going to be? You expect more for your marketing dollar, right? So we're going to do the Wilmington Burger Crawl. I'm going to grab the keys. We're going to head out into Wilmington. We're going to get a cheeseburger from Wendy's, Dairy Queen, McDonald's, and Burger King. And we're going to put them next to one another. And we're going to try them all. And we're going to find out exactly how hard these burger places are competing with one another. who makes the best simple fast food cheeseburgers. So here we go. We're going to head out. We're going to grab a few burgers. It's lunchtime here anyway in Wilmington, and we're going to eat a few burgers and figure out who has the best one and how well they stack up as they're competing against one another. Here we go. All right, we have completed the Wilmington Burger Crawl. You can see we've got a burger from Wendy's, Dairy Queen, Burger King, and McDonald's. We're going to unwrap these bad boys and see what we've got here. Our Wendy's entry. You see a little sad looking little patty there. A lot of ketchup on that one. The Dairy Queen burger. And I should note we also got an order of fries at every place as we're going through the drive-thrus. So we'll let you know how those turned out as well. The Dairy Queen burger, a little bit bigger looking patty there. It's pickles going on, got some ketchup, nice toasted bun. We have the Burger King cheeseburger, flame broiled. You know, you can always tell the Burger King burger because you got the sesame seed bun going on right there. It's a little guy. It's almost like a slider size burger. Got the flame broiled marks on it. How's the top looking there? Got some ketchup going on, a couple pickles. And then finally we've got the classic McDonald's cheeseburger right here. Let's unwrap that and see if we're loving it. Man, that dude is almost two-dimensional. He is flat. But the classic melted cheese going on there. The McDonald's onions at the bottom of the burger. But that's it. We got the 4 burgers. I'm going to dig in here, and I'm not going to make you watch me eat. We're not quite that close yet where I feel comfortable eating cheeseburgers in front of you. But I'm going to give these a try, and then we'll come back and let you know how they turned out. All right, so we've had a bite of every burger. I'm sitting here with my half-eaten tray of cheeseburgers. And if I was going to have to rank the burgers as far as my own personal preferences, I've got to say, I'm going to say number 1 is the McDonald's, and I think a lot of that has to do with the grilled onion. I'm an onion guy, and the grilled onion, the ketchup and mustard just kind of takes it to another level. The Dairy Queen burger, I'm going to rank number 2. As far as the patty goes, probably the best patty of the group, a nice big patty. But the bun was a little bit stale. It kind of tastes like it had been sitting around for a while, kind of dense, hard to chew through. Number 3, Wendy's, and the square patty is going to be number 3 for me. Just kind of a plain old burger, nothing really to write home about. Number 4, coming in at last, is Burger King. Even though you could get a little hint of that flame broiled goodness, really just not a lot to write home about other than that. And just a kind of a meh burger, very much on the small side too. Price-wise, the Dairy Queen burger, most expensive, followed by the Wendy's burger, the 2 cheapest. McDonald's and Burger King, $1.69, the exact same price. So for me, value for the money. McDonald's is winning the competition here. And then you've got Dairy Queen. It was a little bit more expensive, but you're getting a little bit more burger in it. And then rounding out the 4 Wendy's and the Burger King burger. I mentioned fries. I think Dairy Queen has the best fries of the 4 by far. I got to munch on fries while I was sitting in the drive-thrus at all these different places. Burger King, McDonald's fries, very much kind of just plain. And then Wendy's maybe just a tick above those 2. So there you go. That is our Wilmington Burger Crawl. Now, as I'm looking at these burgers, like I said, nothing really amazing. You're not paying a lot of money, but you're not getting a whole lot either. And it makes me think maybe, you know, I make a pretty good burger here at the house, and maybe I should just kind of set up my own restaurant and start my own burger joint. If I were going to do that, I wouldn't draw on those for inspiration. I would maybe think about some burgers that I've had that blow those burgers out of the water and then try to recreate that. So if I'm going to make a burger to compete with the Wendy's and the Dairy Queen and McDonald's of the world, I've got to make a really good burger if I'm going to start my own place. I think about the burgers I've had over the years that I remember to this day, and I think about what a burger should be. I think about maybe the Southern Drawl Burger that I had in Gulf Shores, Alabama at Blues Burgers. You're talking about a jalapeno cornbread bun. Amazing. Really good patty, pimento cheese, and then we've got some pickled jalapenos, a fried green tomato under there. Just an amazing burger. I think about that burger all the time. I think about also the Death by Bacon burger that I had in Great Falls, Montana at the Roadhouse Diner. And if you've ever been through Montana, if you've been through Wyoming, you know the cow to person ratio out there is like 50 to 1 or 50 cows for every one person. That particular diner in Montana gets their beef from a local ranch, literally just right down the road. You've never had a fresher burger. The bun made in-house, amazing. Lots of bacon on there. Just, you can't do better if you're talking about a burger. And I think about that burger all the time. But it's not just, fancy diners or these really cool kind of hole-in-the-wall places. It's also fast food joints. If you've ever been out west and had In-N-Out Burger, you know that that's a really good fast food burger. So if I'm sitting here thinking about starting my own place, I'm thinking about competing with the big boys, I've got to bring my A game. I've got to find inspiration. I'm going to try to recreate and capture some of that spirit there. But if I'm going to get into the game, I also have to think about my competitive strategy. And that's the whole point of the video, right? Our competitive strategy is an effective strategy for how to deal with that competitive environment. Very competitive environment in fast food. And so you really kind of have to answer 3 questions. And it's not just me thinking of starting a new business. Wendy's has to answer the 3 questions. McDonald's. Every business has to answer 3 questions as they're thinking about that competitive environment. The first question, should we compete? Should we get into the game? And as they're thinking about that question, they're trying to figure out, do we have the resources to compete? Do we have the money? Do we have the equipment? Do we have access to the raw materials we need? Do we even have the resources we need to compete? If the answer to that question is yes, to start thinking about, do we have the expertise needed? If I'm going to open up my own burger place, I probably better need to know how to make a burger and how to run a kitchen. If I don't, then I better find somebody to hire that does before I even think about opening my doors. And then finally, when you think about that question, should we compete? Can we make a profit? The whole name of the game is making money. So if we can't make a profit, we probably shouldn't even bother competing to begin with. Question number 1, we have to answer, should we compete? Question number 2, what markets should we compete in? When we think about markets, we're talking about geographical location. If I decide to open up a burger place in Wilmington, am I going to put it on Romback right next to all the other ones, or am I going to move it maybe out by the interstate where there's not a lot of competition? I also got to think about the product market that we're competing in. Am I going to maybe provide something that there's already a lot of, or am I going to try to provide a product that is totally new to the market? And then finally, we need to understand what markets are profitable. Maybe burgers are profitable, but shakes aren't. And so I'm not going to make shakes at my burger place. I'm going to focus on burgers and just regular drinks. Or maybe craft beer. Craft breweries are really popular. So maybe I'm going to focus on that and not serve a lot of food. Whatever the case might be, what markets are going to be profitable? Then finally, the big question, how should we compete? And this is where our marketing mix, our 4 Ps come in. Are we going to compete on product? As you can see from the fast food crawl in Wilmington, I can get a plain old burger anywhere. I can get just a cheeseburger, and I can get it relatively cheap. But there's not many places in Wilmington I can get a really fancy, deluxe, neat toppings, freshly cooked burger. And so as I'm looking at product strategy and I'm going to compete, should I compete on the product? Make a better product, make a more unique product than what the competitors are making? Or should I compete on price? Right now, I can go to McDonald's and get a burger for $1.69. If I'm going to compete on price, that means I'm going to try to sell a burger for 99 cents. Not so much worried about the product, but I'm going to give you a really cheap price to get you in the door. Or maybe I could compete on some combination of the two. A really good product at a reasonable price that's competitive with the other places in the market. I could maybe also focus on customer experience. Maybe I could open up a diner that had a really fun theme, like an 80s diner. You come into the Martin 80s diner and I've got Back to the Future playing on the TV. I've got a jukebox with 80s hits playing on it. And I'll name all the burgers after iconic 1980s movie characters. And that would be fun. Maybe the product's not that good. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but you're coming for the experience. You see what I'm saying? Well, maybe I could just compete on convenience. I can have a really efficient drive-thru. I can get you in and out really quick. I sat in the McDonald's drive-thru for 15 minutes at 11:15 on a Sunday morning. And so that wasn't exactly convenient. So the question of how should we compete on the 4 Ps? And we can maybe compete on some combination of the 4. But we're trying to do something to differentiate ourselves from everyone else. And businesses are answering these questions all the time. It's not like you just answer them once and then you go on about your day. You think about the fast food places we visited. They're answering that how should we compete question all the time. They're always coming out with new products. They're always coming out with new value meals and different combos to lower the prices there for the customer. And they're always doing things to make the ordering experience convenient and better for the customer. So the how should we compete question, it has to be answered over and over again. And again, those are basically our 4 Ps. How are we going to compete on the 4 Ps? So our takeaways. Every business faces competition, unless it's a monopoly. And there's not many of those out there these days. So every business has to consider that competitive environment. They have to consider the direct competition. They also have to consider the indirect competition. Like for me personally, I would rather make a burger at home than go to any one of those places that I went to today, which means that those places face indirect competition from Kroger. If Kroger has a sale on ground beef or they get a special kind of ground beef, Wagyu ground beef from Japan, I would definitely rather go grab that and grill that up on my Weber Outback than get a McDonald's burger. Every business needs a competitive strategy. They got to be aware of what the competition's doing, and they got to be ready to react to it. They also have to answer our 3 questions. Should we compete? What markets should we compete in? And finally, how should we compete? That's it for our video today. I've had 4 cheeseburgers, so I'm going to go ahead and go take a nap. While I'm taking a nap, if you have any questions about what you saw in the video or anything else that you've run across in your studies of marketing, I would be happy to oblige when I wake up. Send them my way and we'll take care of your questions as we get those. Until next time, take care everybody.